Okay, it's happened. We've got our first Reading 2021 poster. I live streamed my reaction. You can go back and watch that if you like. Any noises? It's going to be this guy. So we got our first announcement. My gut reaction was, oh cool, 6 headliners, that's really nice. I'm going to do another video. This video is a negative one. Let's just go from the get-go. This video, as you've seen from the title, is everything wrong with the Reading 2021 poster. As an advocate for Reading Festival, I've been going for the last 13 years. I am a massive fan. I don't have a problem with any of the headliners. I just want to say this up front. I am a big fan of every single one of these artists. I've seen every single one of them before. Each one of them is worthy of a headline slot, but we do have some problems. I'm just going to start off with a couple of things. First thing is on the FAQ section on the Reading website, which states, will Reading have the same lineup next year? And the answer is no. The lineup for Reading 2021 is still TBC and will be announced closer to the festival. It's a flat no, it's not going to be the same lineup. In an interview with NME last week, organiser Melvin Ben was asked the question, a lot of festivals have just taken their lineup from this year into 2021. Is that not the case with Reading and Leeds? No, I was very clear and determined about that. The idea that the 2020 lineup would work perfectly well in 2021, no, it's not happening. Not for Reading and Leeds. We just wiped the slate clean and started again. There will be one headliner that will repeat, but that's the only one. Someone asked if we should just book the same thing, but we've never done that. So why would we start now? We'd be a year out of date. Okay, I just want to go over this, right? That poster that they released yesterday, let's get it up on screen while we're here. Why not? Stormzy, last year. Post Malone was 2019. Liam Gallagher, 2020. So already 2 of the headliners that were booked for this year have been carried over. So he's already misconstruing the truth at this point. Lewis Capaldi was on the lineup for last year for 2020. Tudor Cinema Club was on the lineup for 2020. AJ Tracey was on the lineup for 2020. DaBaby played in 2019. Mabel played in 2019 and was booked for 2020. 100 Gex was booked for 2020. Ash Nico was booked for 2020. Biba Doobie was booked for 2020. Viva 333 was booked for 2020. Lyra was booked for 2020. And Sophie Tucker was booked for 2020. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 artists that were booked out of the 20 that are here. Over 50% of artists that were announced yesterday were carried across from the previous lineup. Now, I've not got a problem with that. Just don't say that's not going to be the case. Say, yeah, a lot of artists that we booked last year are going to carry across. That's fine. I'll be okay with that. But it's just not truthful. Like, it was a good lineup last year. Of course I'm happy with them seeing some of these artists. But it's not truthful. I don't like it. Later on in that interview, he was asked, is the whole lineup in place? He says, yes. We're announcing everything next week. The lineup is going to be up a month. Okay, that didn't happen, but we'll come back to it. Can you give us any clues on who it is? No. What if we ask you if any of them have headlined before? Every one of them is a first-time headliner. Okay, we're getting mixed messages here. Melvin clearly states here that the whole lineup is in place and is getting announced next week, being yesterday, Monday. Now, I guess that we're getting more announced, that we could get more announced this week, but the website clearly states, plus we'll be dropping a whole load of fire across the coming months to add to the party. Are you ready? So they're clearly not announcing it all this week. So did he mean that they're just announcing the headliners this week? Because that's not the entire lineup, that's just the headliners. When asked about the lineup, he says that each one of these artists is a first-time headliner, and one of them is being carried across from the previous year. So when I hear that, I think there's no Foo Fighters, there's no Kings of Leon, there's no Queens of the Stone Age, there's no Disclosure, there's no Post Malone, and only one of them is carrying across from last year. So that's 5 completely new artists. What we've got is Stormzy, who was announced last year, Post Malone, who headlined in 2019, making the first artist to headline the next event, from one festival to the next festival. Post Malone is doing the same thing. Queens of the Stone Age, who headlined in 2014, and Liam Gallagher, who was also booked for last year's festival. So I just don't understand what's gone on there. That's just completely not true. What I was expecting was a whole bunch of people who have never headlined before. I was expecting Travis Scott. I was expecting Bring Me the Horizon. I was expecting Slipknot. I was expecting Haim. I was expecting Billie Eilish. I was expecting Catfish and the Bottlemen. That's cool. And, you know, no offence to Catfish on the Bottom, and they're great. I've literally followed them since day one. I've got all their early things on single 7-inch. Like, I'm a big fan of Catfish on the Bottom, and I have been. The first time I heard them, I said they will headline Reading. Promise you that, and they have. So I'm really, really, really happy that they're there. However, what we've got is one new headliner, because everyone else has been booked to be a headliner for another festival, whether they got cancelled or not. There is an argument here which would say the other artists, so Post Malone, Disclosure, Queens of the Stone Age, who have clearly headlined and performed previous festivals, they were booked as co-headliners and therefore have never headlined. However, is this any different? We're not getting any clashes. I get that we're calling them 6 headliners across 2 stages. Someone's still got to close the night out. Someone's still got to go on last. Whether you flip them round or not, they're essentially still co-headliners. They've just got 2 different stages. 1 field, 2 stages, no clashes. That says to me very, very clearly they just haven't respected any of the co-headline slots over the last few years. That has to be it, because they're just not seeing it as a headline. On top of this, Liam Gallagher has performed as a headliner before, as Oasis. You know, like in 2000 he did it, and many other times he's played this stage before. Shout out to Sam Louise on Twitter, who has sent me this that's been floating around about Reading Festival. Whether this is true or not, we'll have a look. There will be 5 bands on each main stage. They'll be playing on a rotational basis, so band on main stage west opens, then band on main stage east, then band on main stage west, all the way up to the main stage east headliners, Stormzy and Post and Liam. There will be no Enemy, Pit, Dance, Festival Republic or BBC introducing stages, but there will be a 3rd stage with smaller acts, and it will be open air. Think something familiar to the Park stage at Glastonbury. I believe this is only a temporary measure in regards to the pandemic, and 2022 will see the festival resume normal service, as it were. Expect a second announcement around September with a few interesting names. I really hope that's not the case, and the reason why I don't think it's the case is based on this incredibly misleading interview from the Enemy with Melvin Benn, where he is very directly asked about whether next year will go ahead. The thing that throws me on this is when he talks about having the second main stage, says we're going to reproduce the main stage twice. What was the second stage is going to be elevated to an equal stage with the same presentation. What that really allows us to do is book 6 acts as headliners. Now, the second stage, at one point Reading Leeds had 2 stages side by side, and someone on Twitter posted this picture, and it's really cool. It's way before my time, but whether or not that's what he's referring to, the second stage, or whether he's referring to the Radio 1 stage, I don't know. In that tweet, they say the Enemy rather than the Radio 1 stage. It's been the Radio 1 stage for like 3 years, so I'm not sure. When asked about how he feels about the current climate facing the festival season for next year, he says, I'm very confident that it's going to happen, and I'm very confident that it's going to be remarkably similar to what it's always been like. There'll be some things about 16-year-olds and blah, 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 blah. But that says to me that that's not going to be the case. But who knows what's going on. What's going on with this poster. This interview is the most misleading thing I think I've ever seen in my life. And who knows? The world's crazy. My final gripe, and the biggest gripe I have with this, is the significantly and disturbing lack of female artists on this poster. An article was published in 2015 by Leonie Cooper of The Enemy. It took all of the men out of the festival and just showed the women. Now, at the time, I thought there aren't that many female artists around. I think they're doing the best they can without being a pop festival. However, that was 5 years ago. Since then, so many incredible artists who happen to be women have risen to that point where they could easily headline. Whether they're available or not, I'm sorry, this is not acceptable anymore. This is so clear to me at this point that the organisers of Reading and Leeds are significantly misogynistic. There have been 51 days of Reading Festival in the last 15 years. 51. 57 headline slots, if you include co-headliners. That's 57 headline slots. Since I have been going to Reading, which is 13 years, but if we go back to 15 years, so 2006, it would be the same if you went back further. This just looks even more disgusting. We have had Arcade Fire, who has a female member, and we have had Paramore. So we have had one woman lead a band on a main stage at Reading and Leeds. 2 acts total have female members. We haven't had a female solo artist since Bjork in 1996. Is that right? Since Bjork played in 1995. And I just can't believe it. And I refuse to believe that they're not available. I'm sorry, I refuse to believe that. I flat out refuse it. I was going on a bit of a Twitter war last night, and I read it raw, which is never a good thing, because I'm just going to butt heads with people, and I take it all far too seriously. But I had a conversation with someone who said, someone had commented saying that they'd rather have the best lineup they can rather than meet a certain quota of female acts, just to keep people happy. People like you, being me. And I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree. I don't believe in a 50-50 split. I don't believe in a quota. I think a festival should be the festival it can be. And I think up until this point, there have been such fewer female artists and females represented in music, especially alternative music, non-pop music, that I think there would be an argument there to say that wasn't the case. However, in 2020, going into 2021, that is not the case. I have a list of 5 artists here, all who could have headlined. I'm going to start with Florence and the Machine, who headlined Glastonbury in 2015. She last played Reading in 2012, where she sub-headlined, has never gone on to headline Reading and Leeds, and is one of the most important indie artists in the UK in the last 2 decades. Easily. Billie Eilish last year, granted she's only on album number 1, but is due to release album number 2. There have been a couple of instances where people have headlined on 2 albums, Disclosure being one of them. Billie Eilish broke main stage records last year with this photo, where she gained the largest crowd during the day on the main stage. It was absolute mayhem. Haim, easily one of the best indie bands around at the moment. Absolute bangers for days. They have so many hit records. They are absolutely calling out for a Reading and Leeds main stage headline slot. Certainly had multiple nights at Alexandra Palace in the past and have a global presence. Was part of the BBC Introducing and went on to gain amazing traction through the years. Just released their 3rd album and is absolutely due a headline slot. Wolf Alice went on to win the 2018 Mercury Music Prize. Are rock and roll, they're heavy, they're bolshy, led of course by Ellie, who's incredible. And last but certainly not least, I know it's a curveball and I really wouldn't like to see her, but Dua Lipa has been nominated for 2 Grammys. She has been nominated for 10 Brit Awards. She has 26 MTV Award nominations and is nominated for the 2020 Mercury. She has one of the biggest pop followings ever, and pop music is making its way into Reading and Leeds whether we like it or not. I think partly because pop music is getting a little bit cooler. So to say that I totally agree we shouldn't have a 50-50 split and it shouldn't be about meeting a quota, it should be about booking the perfect people. My question is, why are we not booking some amazing women? That's all I'm asking for. 57 opportunities and 2 of them have been taken up by bands with female members. That's just not acceptable anymore. It's just not acceptable anymore. They should be ashamed that they're not prioritising this. They should be ashamed. All of these artists fit the demo perfectly. There's so many more. We could talk about so many more artists. But you know what? That's not where we're at. There's 6 opportunities this year for headline acts, and not one of them, not even like a token female bassist, not one of them has a female member. And I just can't believe we're there. I can't believe it. The women that are booked here are amazing. Biba Doobie is one of my favourite artists. I'm literally obsessed with her. I can't wait to see that performance. It's going to be huge. I'm really looking forward to diving into some of the other artists again, but they're so far down the bill. Like, come on. I really didn't want this video just to be a massive rant, but it's going to be. I really just feel that this festival is so personal to me, and I love it, and I love attending. It's like my favourite weekend of the year. I get to see just loads of bands. But the times have changed. And the festival isn't, and there are way more women that attend this festival now, and they should be represented by the incredible female artists that are out there. I did an entire podcast during the summer over Glastonbury weekend about the amazing women that are playing Glastonbury. I could happily see way more women play this festival. It would not even be, it's not even about filling a quota, it's just about them blatantly not putting women in there to headline. That's where I'm at with this. The next video, we'll be talking about everything that I do enjoy about the lineup. I am excited for this festival, I really am. 6 headliners, an entirely new stage, this is such an exciting thing. Really am excited for it. Don't want this just to be a downer, but I think it's time that we start talking about this and holding them accountable. It's completely absurd and it's time for change. That's where I'm at. I am really excited about the headliners that have been announced. I love every single one of them, and we will be going in depth with them over WTF episodes. That's going to be starting next week. It's going to be so much fun to do a Queens of the Stone Age WTF episode. I'm going to do a long one for that one. Two Door, great. I don't want Lewis Capaldi. There you go, that's going to be my Bastille one. We'll watch the thumbs downs on that one. And I'm excited to go in on some of the other artists. I really am. We're going to continue what we started at the start of this year with WTF Series 2. We only got about, I don't know, 10% of the way in before we stopped, but we're going to carry on and it's going to be brilliant. And I'd love as much of your feedback as possible. Look, there are so many excuses people are making for this. All of them are from young white guys. I don't think we should be meeting a quota. I really don't think that. But what we're doing now is we're not even close to meeting a quota. We're not even acknowledging incredible female acts. Rant over. Thank you so much for watching. This is much longer than I thought it was going to be. What do you think about the poster? What do you think about the lineup? What's been announced so far? What do you think? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers. Bye.